Hey, what's up, guys? So I get asked all the time in my Twitch chat and in my coaching sessions, how are you so consistent with parrying, especially when it comes to parrying falling aerials, which is the area where I think parrying is most relevant? Well, there's a little mental trick that I use for this, and I wanted to share it with you. So for those of you who don't know, parrying is when you drop your shield 5 frames or less before you get hit. It goes into this cool little flashing animation, and what it does is it gives you 3 extra frames to act before your opponent, while they're sort of stuck in the position that they were in when they hit you. And it also gets you out of shield for free, which I think is the most underrated thing about it. This means you can do normals like tilts, grabs, and jabs actually 14 frames earlier than you would have normally, because you would skip the 11 frames of shield drop and have 3 extra frames. This is a pretty big deal when it comes to punishing moves on your shield. So the main problem I think a lot of people have with parrying is they try to parry individual moves, right? Most moves in this game are going to have anywhere from frame 2 to frame 15 startup, or at least the ones people use actively, and those aren't generally going to be reactable to human beings. Humans in Smash can generally react to things that are around frame 16 or something like that for visual cues, and a little bit less than that for audio cues. So we're basically never going to be able to react to moves like this. So what does that mean then? Does that mean the pros are just 100% anticipating what their opponent is going to do? Well, not exactly. They don't know you're going to throw out just an up air there or a fair there necessarily. There is an element of anticipation to it, but let me show you an easy trick that's going to make this a lot more consistent for you. By the way, I have Be Kind here. Wave at the camera. Yeah, she's going to be helping me here because it's really hard to use Joy-Cons myself while also talking to the camera and using my own controller. It's a little much, so she's here to help me out. So everyone go follow her on Twitter. Okay, so the easiest thing to parry in this game generally, beyond like reactable slow moves, get off. The cat is ruining the shoot. Go into the camera for a bit. Go into the camera. Look, this is the villain who has been disrupting this recording. Get rid of him. Alright, anyway. So take, for example, Zero Suit Samus Nair, right? It used to be -2 before the patch. They patched it. Now it's -4. So before patch at -2, that meant with the 3 extra frames that parrying gives you, you could only punish with a move that was frame 4, frame 5, or better, right? So for Ike, we only have one move that fits in this category, and that is Jab. Now, unfortunately, Jab doesn't hit very far, Jab 1 anyway. So if a ZSS were to space her nairs pretty well, we wouldn't have gotten that punish anyway, and it's also just not that good of a punish. See? The Jab just misses, nothing we can do. Now, if we parry down tilt, however, we have enough range to get the punish, and also, if we get a down tilt at the right spacing, we get follow-ups, right? There we go. See, we get true punishes out of a parry. So, people ask me all the time, how do you get your punish out? If ZSS Nair is frame 10, right? That means that we can't possibly react to that. Not the startup of the move anyway. And ZSS has a whole bunch of different aerials she can land on shield with. She has like up air, which is -2. Nair, which is, -4. And then back air. Back air is pretty safe too. Back air's frame is -6, -5. Forward air is -7. There's extremely safe on shield options for this character. So the question is, how can we get a consistent timing for all these moves that have different timings? The answer is this little mental trick that I use, and that I think a lot of top players and pro players use as well. And that is to parry the character instead of the move. So it's easy to get caught up in the wrong mindset of, oh, I have to react to this move. Nair, up air, fair, whatever it is. When there's something you need to keep in mind, a little mental trick that makes it kind of like a one-size-fits-all solution. In Smash Ultimate, when you see the frame data, right, you see, oh, this move's -4, this move's -6. That assumes the lowest possible spacing for a move. ZSS is a frame 6 up B out of shield, right, and Ike's Nair is -5. Only if I get perfect spacing, where I land on the ground on the same frame that the sword hits her shield, only then can I not be out of shielded by up B. So go ahead and shield for me and try to up B me. See, so I had near perfect spacing there, and she wasn't able to up B in time. Now, if I were to hit a Nair super high on her shield, it would take me a few frames to hit the ground. And because of this, it would be less safe. So she would be able to up B me out of shield for free. See what I mean? I held shield right after that, but because I spaced it so high on her shield, it was unsafe enough that the up B came out anyway. Now, keeping this in mind, what do you think pro and top players are going to want to do? They're going to want to always be hitting this timing where they hit the ground on the same frame that their sword, or whatever hitbox they have, hits the shield of their opponent. Because of this, this makes most falling aerial timings predictable. So no matter what she lands with, I'm going to parry with the same timing. I'm going to do what I call parrying the character, not the move. So I'm literally just watching her and trying to time my parry for the moment that she would hit the ground just before that. You actually have a pretty big window for this. It's 5 frames, which is pretty generous in a game like this to get your parry out in time. So pretty big window if they're going for this low spacing, which most of the time they will be doing. Go ahead and just do a bunch of moves on my shield. See what I mean? You can parry basically everything at this same timing because no matter what, they're going to be trying to land with this low spacing. Now, what this does, however, is it creates a mix-up game, right? Generally, people are going to be landing low-spaced, fast-falled aerials for safety. What do they do now to counterplay the fact that we're parrying so much? There's a couple answers, right? Go ahead and try to parry me. There you go. There's catching the low-spaced aerial. Now, what happens if I do a tomahawk grab instead? I can catch the 11 frames of shield drop with a tomahawk grab. Now, another option is to start delaying your aerials. You'll see sometimes in high-level Ike play, for example, they will not fast fall on purpose, not only to get this big sweeping back hitbox out, which they can combo off of, but also to mix up their opponent's parry timings and make them miss this 5-frame window. So you can see sometimes if I choose not to correctly space my aerial, I choose to do it slow when they're anticipating me landing low and fast with a fastball, I can sneak in, catch that shield drop timing, and get a combo that way. So you'll see a lot of people get kill confirms that way. Now, of course, the risk of this is nothing you do this way is going to actually be safe on shield, so ZSS can, forward air me out of shield for this because it's so unsafe. So if you just hold shield when I do this, you can get the freest punish in the world, right? So that becomes the mix-up game. Is it worth it for me to space badly on purpose to avoid getting parried? And I would recommend going for this when your opponent is parrying a lot, right? Especially for Ike mains where we get parried quite a bit because we're often going for this same low timing to make our aerials as safe as possible. Now, if you want to practice parrying, you can do what I'm doing right now and just get a friend to keep spamming aerials on you, and that works really well. And I think this is the most important and most relevant parry timing there is. There's other moves that you need to parry as well. But if you'll think about it, this is actually what makes multi-hits so good. Because it's really hard to get this specific timing if they're re-hitting you constantly. Because they can just space the multi-hits super high, keep re-hitting your shield, and then they won't ever get parried really at all. And often they'll just catch you trying to parry and hit you for it. Another way, which I did not come up with, and I will link it to you guys in the description, is if you go into a training mode with a wall. I think specifically they use the Dracula's Castle stage a lot because it has walls on both sides. You can spawn in the green shell item and practice the parry timing that way by throwing it against the wall. And that'll help you sort of get a feel for the window that you have to parry moves. So if you throw a green shell against the wall, you can actually practice parrying it as it comes back and forth because the hitbox is active every time it reactivates. And then if you hit the item, it gets faster and faster. You can also smash throw it for a little bit more speed. So if you hit it, you can get it to move a little bit faster, and you can practice parrying it that way. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of the timings, but practicing with a friend is really the best way to get this down, or practicing it in real games. This will allow you actually to parry online a little bit if you get used to the delay, because it will be the same timing every time, no matter what opponent you're facing. Wolfman. What's up, bro? Well, nice backflip. That's sick. Yeah. By the way, watch Castlevania on Netflix. It's awesome.
I helped you with your video and you're fighting.
I'm sorry. So one thing you'll see people doing is they'll be flickering their shield to try to get parries. I don't really recommend doing this because you're completely putting your parry to fate, right? Like, you have 11 frames of shield drop animation. Only 5 of those are going to parry for you, so you have like a less than 50% chance of hitting a parry if this is how you do it. So, maybe you'll get lucky, but I much prefer reacting and trying to get my timing right as opposed, rusting in fate. So I wouldn't recommend the shield flickering version of parrying. All right, I guess that's it. I guess that's everything I wanted to cover. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're interested in getting coaching with me, I promise it's cheaper than any of the pros out there. And I've had nothing but rave reviews, so, you know, be my next rave review. I'd love to help you guys get better at the game. You can join the Discord in the description if you want to DM me about that. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.